Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. Hello and welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your weekly movie, TV, and streaming guide. You don't have time for things. I lost my spot. There's too much content in the world and you can't be wasting your time figuring out what to watch. So let me waste my time for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting and letting you know what's poppin' and what ain't. We're going to jump right into, usually we go right into spotlight films, but we're going to go right into the TV limelight shows. I forgot what they were called. I'm forgetting my own subjects. What was the new show of the week? There were several. Surprisingly, I'm noticing next week we're not going to watch any new shows, but this past week we had a few new shows that I tried at least the first couple episodes of. One that I watched the whole season of was The Bear, season 3. Poppin' or not, I didn't like it. I am going to be less negative from now on. I really didn't like this. That's what a terrible, terrible segue into a review that sounds very, very negative. I'm going to be less negative from now on. I didn't like you. No, man, it was all reflection. It was barely storytelling. Don't get me wrong, still well made. I still was excited to watch the show until I was actually watching it. A lot of staring. If you love food porn, The Bear is just for you. If you don't want to watch characters live out their stories and just look off in the corners of rooms, The Bear season 3 is just for you. Excellent filmmaking, excellent cinematography, great acting. I don't love the writing because, and this is more of a compliment, it's a little too realistic to the point where they're not really having a conversation. Now, Carmy and Ayo, I'm sorry, Ayo, I forgot your character's name in that because I love you so much that I forgot your character's name. Ayo and Carmy's conversations throughout the season are like, are you good? Yeah. Good. Yeah. And it's supposed to be because he doesn't know how to apologize or even notice that he's being a fucking selfish asshole that's not listening to his partner's thoughts and just doing what he thinks is really important. Granted, it's because he's going through some post-traumatic stress from his breakup and is being abused by old boss played by Joel McHale, but a dick nonetheless. Ebon, cousin, very funny guy. Wasn't too funny this season, but he had some funny moments, and I liked his storyline probably the most because there was development there. It's him trying to accept that he's going to lose his family soon. His ex-wife is going to get married soon to a very decent guy, a guy that he wants to hate but can't. Great cameo, by the way. I won't spoil it for you, but that guy has one scene and you're like, oh shit. And that person has a big movie coming out soon. So I think it was pretty good timing on his part. He's got a good comeback going. In any case, what did I love? What did I hate the most? The first episode is pure. I read, what's Lip's name? Carmy's name, whatever the fuck his name is. The main guy, Jeremy Allen White. I read Jeremy Allen White say the pilot was kind of like walking through someone's mind. But they do it throughout the series. There's a lot of mind walking and a lot of flashes of scenes that we've seen before and a lot of like almost panic attacks and anxiety. Now, the show is definitely about anxiety. Don't get me wrong, especially anxiety about everyday disasters or everyday things that happen, especially at work or with relationships or with not voicing something that you think is very important. Or without achieving your dreams or doing something that you love and being good at it without being a fucking dick to everyone else. Sure. Very nice to look at. But when it's 90% of the show, it gets a little annoying. The second episode was super dope. It was basically a long argument that I really enjoyed. Episode 5, I liked a lot. And I think if he's fucking this up and dude replies, no, that was my fault for the trays. When Carm was really asking if he was fucking up the restaurant. Oh, one thing I like that Carm did this season. I watched the whole season again. Ibra, the guy who works the window with the sandwiches. Carm has asked him before, hey, I think he's asked him some variation before this season. Hey, am I fucking this up? And Ibra has always had replied before, like, no, dude, this situation is fine. In this situation, he spilled plates. And he goes, hey, am I fucking this up? He goes, Carm, I spilled the plates. And to me, that was like Ibra's way of saying, like, no, Carm, you're doing a great job. Or Ibra really didn't know that Carm is using him as a sort of therapist out of nowhere. And in any case, it was like a nice little touch that I liked in that episode. Ayo did direct an episode, and it was the one that centered on, I can't remember her name. What a great reviewer I am. I can't even tell you characters' names. Let's see. The episode that focused on, she should be one of the first faces to show up. She's part of the Tina. Tina's censored episode was really, really cool. First of all, the fact that we're seeing the beef back in its heyday when John Barenthal was in charge and not dead. That was really cool, but also it was a really good story in general. I really, really enjoyed that episode. But AO actually directed that episode, so props to her. And it was really cool seeing the beef, but also it was cool seeing the connections that you have with trying to apply for a job can really be heart-wrenching, and buying a sandwich from a friendly person that will introduce themselves without needing to can be not life-changing, but it can turn around your day. And I think that was really, really cool. There's a third Fack brother that is also a cameo. It won't be whoever you're thinking a third Fack would be. You're facking wrong. And too much facts this season, and too much haunting talk. 60% of the show is them talking about Oh, you haunting me, bro. Can you stop haunting me, bro? Hey, are you being haunted? I'm being haunted, bro. You're not being haunted. I'm being haunted, bro. I was very tired of that. I will haunt the fuck out of whoever wrote that in because it was annoying. Poppin' or not, I will watch the next season, of course. It ends on a cliffhanger, but it's like I didn't watch anything. It literally felt like I didn't watch anything. Some episodes were better than others. The Jamie Lee Curtis episode is really fucking good. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much. I will say if you haven't started the season yet, I could be wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, please. I just don't think I am. Not much happens this season. This all seems like an appetizer for the next season. But you can check it out on Hulu if you'd like. Season 2 is still my favorite. 1 was just annoying as fuck because everyone was miserable all the time. 3 has too much self-reflection and not any storytelling. And 2 is just dope. Another show that I watched, which I didn't think I would, but I ended up watching Wandla. It was dope. If you have kids, I always have a recommendation for you to drop the kids off in front of the TV while you go and take flying lessons, drunk flying lessons. The joke is I always say that you're going to go do something illegal while your kids sit at home alone, which is already illegal, in case you didn't understand that running joke. Wandla is on Apple TV Plus Fridays. Or I'm sorry, the whole season is out on Apple TV Plus. Really interesting storyline. Forced to flee her underground sanctuary from Earth's surface. Sounds a lot like Fallout, right? Eva discovers a world unlike anything she expected as she journeys across perilous terrain and unknown civilizations. Eva asks whether she is the last human. It's a mystery, ladies and gents. It's a mystery. And it's a pretty cool mystery because you are like, wait, where is this? What's going on? And it works. And it's like Pixar-esque CGI animation going on. John Lasseter, who used to, I don't think he works at Pixar anymore. He's worked on a bunch of dope Pixar films. He worked on this show as well. So I would say if you want like it felt like old Pixar movies again. So I highly recommend it if you're thinking of something like that. Each episode is 30-ish minutes long. We only watched the first 2 or 3, I think, right? And I love it. I'm very excited to watch the rest of it. Check it out on Apple TV Plus. The whole season is on there right now. Apple TV Plus is doing some shit. They're doing some shit, okay? They're doing a pretty good job. All right, SupaCell on Netflix. This one's about a group of seemingly ordinary people from South London unexpectedly develop superpowers. They don't seem to have a connection between them aside from being black. I didn't write that. But yeah, that's interesting. So I only watched the first episode of this, and I will admit the first half of the episode, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. The second episode, I kind of like the situations where all of these characters are discovering their superpower because they all develop superpowers at the same time. And they all are disconnected storylines, I think. And when their superpower erupts, it happens at a certain point in their life that's very interesting for the viewer to watch. So I will actually continue watching this, even though like the first 20 minutes, I was like, I don't know. But I recommend watching the whole episode. It ends on a very big X-Men note, which is cool, but also it was kind of like, I feel like I've seen this a bunch of times. But it does have a lot of potential, so I will continue watching it. I will note, even though I don't like Rotten Tomatoes scores, this is 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Every time I see 100% fresh, I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like I'm not going to like a big aspect of this. And the aspect of this show is it's not very, like, riveting. The storylines that are happening are interesting. It just doesn't really grab you yet until powers erupt. So check it out. It's on Netflix right now. Yeah. Let's move on to our spotlight films. Now, the first one I loved the most. Okay. Now, I love this movie. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm going to tell you, it's popping. Okay. I just don't think it's popping for everybody. It's not popping for everybody. But if you like Poor Things, if you like The Favorite, if you like the killing of a sacred deer, specifically the lobster, or dogtooth, then you're going to love not SupaCell, not SupaCell. Kinds of Kindness. That's right, ladies and gents and thems. I saw Kinds of Kindness, and I'm pretty proud of it too, because fuck was this movie not playing anywhere in my area. At first, the tickets were available at AMC, and then they canceled my ticket twice. And I didn't see any. I traveled to Troy, which isn't that far, but I still traveled to Troy to watch this. Poppin', man. If you want to watch a weird movie that's super fucking entertaining, I love Kinds of Kindness. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. I love Yorgos, though. Again, this is the director who did Poor Things, which most people have seen, and that's not my favorite Yorgos movie. I want to say The Lobster is my favorite. This is up there. This might be my new favorite Yorgos movie, and it's definitely a movie I want to watch again to see if I can understand the connecting themes more, because when you see the connections in the film, you are like, wait, what does this mean exactly? The things that happen in the film are confusing, don't get me wrong, but the connecting themes between all the stories is really strange. There are 3 weird stories by one weird director. The movie is about 3 hours long, so I will say if you're interested in the film, you might want to wait for streaming, even though, again, this is a very independent film. It's only in limited theaters right now, so you probably have no choice but to wait. There are 3 stories. The first story is probably I'm going to say the first story is my favorite. Second story is wild and it ends very confusing. Like, even though a lot of this movie is confusing, the end of the second story was, it made me scratch my head. I didn't have any theories about it or anything, but they have little credits after each short film. So each film is about an hour long, right? And each film stars Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Willem Dafoe, Margaret Qualley, and a few other people. And they all play different characters. But again, there are similar themes between each story. And they are different kinds of kindness. And it's super, super dope. If you like weird movies, watch Kinds of Kindness. You'll fucking love it. But if you like Yorgos, you'll love it. I definitely like this more than Poor Things. Don't get me wrong, I love Poor Things, but I really, really loved this movie. I thought it was really, really good. Very well made. A lot of Jesse Plemons, which I was surprised of, because Jesse Plemons, if he ever plays a lead, he's usually second lead, but he was the lead. Well, maybe he was more of a second lead in the second story. Either way, he did a very good job in this movie. I think he's going to get nominated for an Oscar, and I think it's well-deserved, even though this is a comedic film with some serious fucking scenes. And it does have some violence, and it does have some raunchy, out-of-nowhere sex, but the movie works. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Yeah. Now, will everyone love this? I don't think so. I really don't. I will say, if you like weird shit, watch this movie. If you don't like weird shit, skip it. But I fucking loved this movie. You can check out Kinds of Kindness in select theaters right now. Also in theaters is a movie that I really, really enjoyed. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed this movie. But I really fucking loved this movie. But I enjoyed this movie as well. Why? Mostly because of Lupita Nyong'o. Lupita Nyong'o has never been in the Quiet Place franchise as of yet, but we have a franchise now. And this is the prequel to Quiet Place. And this one has Lupita Nyong'o, Joseph Quinn, and Digimon Hewson, who only plays a really small role, but I'm wondering if they're going to make a film about his character. So Quiet Place was directed and starring John Krasinski, and they made a sequel, which also was directed by John Krasinski. John Krasinski helped produce and develop the story for this prequel film, but he's not in it, and you're not going to see anyone from Quiet Place in it. I think I used the bathroom only once, I think. And if I did, I don't think there was anyone from the previous film. So don't think that that's going to happen. I was kind of hoping for that because... So the first Quiet Place takes place like a year after day one, I want to say. And the second film opens up with a scene from day one. Because of how great that scene was, I thought that the beginning of this movie was going to have a really cool action scene of how I forgot that they were alien, these creatures. If I spoiled something, sorry, but that was explained in the previous film. I forgot that they are aliens. I forgot. But when they first showed the creatures, I thought, man, this is going to be one of the best Apocalypse Day movies, one of the best scenes. And my biggest qualm with the movie is that scene should have been doper. Sure, you don't want to show your creatures head on. Really, in any film, you want to prolong until you show it full on. That way it adds more mystery, a little more suspense of what the monster actually is. So I see why they did that. I just couldn't help but compare it to Quiet Places 2's opening scene. Or think like Independence Day, you know? It's just those first scenes of like mass panic. You can do those so cool. And I find it to be a cop-out when you see action scenes that happen in the dust, in the smoke, in the fog, where you can barely see anything. And Lupita's character is definitely the best part of the film because, first of all, it's Lupita. She can't do any wrong. But second, because she played a cancer patient who's on death's door, living in hospice, visiting New York to watch a puppet show with people she doesn't really want to watch a puppet show for, but all she wants is a slice of pizza. And then this invasion happens. And when the invasion happens, it's very smoky and you see people disappear, but you don't really see what's going on. And that really bummed me out, man. I really hate when movies do that. The movie did reconcile that as it progressed, not only with storytelling, but also with character development of the cat. The cat alone, great character development. My favorite scene of the film is when we follow the cat away from Lupita as she's chasing a mouse. And then we meet Joseph Quinn's character out from the water. I thought, for one, what a great way to show this animal by itself and make it interesting and a little funny, but also how we introduce a connection to a character we haven't seen before that will form a bond later on in the film. That was an excellent scene. Very well done. Joseph Quinn is good in this, but I couldn't hear a fucking word he was saying. I get it's called A Quiet Place, okay? And they can only talk when there's heavy rain or there's thunderstorms going on. So they only talk a few times, and they write a little bit to each other too. And they have a great bond, great chemistry too between two characters that don't know each other at all. I thought that they did excellent casting for this. But when Joseph Quinn was talking about his life and why he was such a pussy, I was like, what the fuck did he just say? I can't hear a word he's saying. I couldn't hear him. And you don't want to ask the person next to you what's going on because you have to be really quiet in this movie. In any case, Poppin or not, I will say Poppin. It might be my second favorite. And the first might be my favorite, but the best character, Cillian Murphy's character in the second movie is really great. Don't get me wrong, but Lupita's character was excellent in this, and the cat was dope too. And you learned some interesting things about the creatures. I think they did the creatures the best in this movie, but that's also because we know the creatures already, as in we know what they're going to bring to the table. But now we need to be introduced to something else to make them more interesting. So, bravo to Michael Sarnowski, who did only one famous film before this, and that was Pig with Nicolas Cage, a film that I'd always been interested in, but I never took a chance to watch. After watching this, I will definitely be checking that out on Hulu, which stars Nicolas Cage as a truffle hunter who lives alone in the Oregon wilderness, who must then return to his past in Portland in search of his beloved foraging pig after she is kidnapped. It's like John Wick, but with pigs. Probably less action, too. Check out Quiet Place Day 1 in theaters right now. All right, so that made me think. What is the topic of the evening? Well, let's jump right in because we're already almost a half hour in and we're making great time. Let's continue making it great. The best prequels. You know, I thought I'd find like a gargantuan list and have like a really hard time trying to pick what are my favorite prequels out of this slew of prequels. There aren't that much prequels. If I'm forgetting any that are good, please comment below or message me or text me or whatever, because I feel like I'm missing some. But let's get started with one that's technically a prequel and technically it's not technically, it is a sequel. Godfather 2. Now, why is it a prequel? Because we get to see young I almost said Michael Corleone. Don Corleone. What's Don Corleone's first name? I can't remember. I don't know. Anyways, we see Don Corleone as a young man, played by Robert De Niro. And honestly, the best part of this film to me is Al Pacino's Michael Corleone becoming Godfather, becoming more dark. I love this movie. I think I love it more than the first film, but I will count this as a prequel because the B story is really dope. The B story in one with Michael in Italy sucked. The B story in this with the beginnings of Don Corleone and his first kill in the stairway, such a great scene. And great acting by Robert De Niro. I think he won an Oscar for it, if I'm not mistaken. Another one of my favorite prequels is Pearl, which you can watch on... Godfather 2, you can watch on Paramount Plus. So you can also watch the first one on Paramount Plus. Pearl is the prequel to X, and the sequel, Maxine, which is the third film chronologically, is coming out this Thursday. We'll talk more about that later. So X is about basically these people making a porno and an old couple starts murdering them. In the second film, we see what the old woman was like when she was young, played by Mia Goth. And it is very well made. I do think it was a tad overrated because people were like losing their fucking minds over this movie. But this movie was very dope. I think I'm just being a little bit of a hater, but not a full hater because I will give credit where credit's due. Very great job, Mia Goth. And yeah, if you want to watch something that's a little twisted, that is definitely horror, check this out, but watch X first, which you can rent. It was on Netflix. It's not on Netflix anymore, but you don't have to watch X in order to understand Pearl, but definitely watch Pearl. You're going to want to watch X and Pearl before Maxine this week. All right. You can check us out on Pearl. Absolutely. One of my top favorite prequels is Prey, which you can watch on Hulu right now. This is the Predator prequel. I've talked about this at length, so I won't talk about it too much now, but it takes place like hundreds, if not thousands of years before Predator. And it has a badass female ass kicker in the film too, that I talked a little bit about last week. You can check this out on Hulu. Mallrats. This is another technical prequel. Clerks has a storyline where they go to a funeral of someone. This movie takes place like the week, or this takes place before that funeral. And yeah, if you don't remember, if you've seen Mallrats and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? That dude on TJ, the guy on the left, his girlfriend is hosting because the original host died mid-backstroke swimming at the YMCA. And that's the funeral that Dante and Randall crash in Clerks. So there's your connection. Love Mallrats. One of my favorite View Askewniverse films. You can rent this right now. And Clerks is on Pluto. Revenge of the Sith. Come on, man. I don't give a shit what people say about the prequels to the Star Wars. But Revenge of the Sith was fucking awesome. One of the best, honestly, one of my favorite films. It's so, because you're like, this can only end one way, and it does, buddy. Oh, it does. And it's super dope. Also, we can't help but forget about the Clone Wars as well. And if you want to be more specific, the Clone Wars final season, specifically their last 3 or 4 episodes, just pure excellent cinema. Even though it's animation, just so fucking well made. You can check out Revenge of the Sith or any of the Star Wars on Disney Plus right now. Now, this next one, I always don't know if I like it or not, but I've watched it like 5 times. Prometheus. I love the Alien franchise. I love horror films. Prometheus was weird, dude. It was weird. Not as weird as Alien Covenant, where you got, what's his name? Wow, you did. Did you know? Jordan guessed Prometheus as I was doing it. Good job, Jordan. You're definitely a fan of the show. Yeah, man. I mean, I liked it. I got to say, overall, I liked it. It pissed me off how much they left out of the connection, the bridge between Prometheus and Alien. But it's kind of cool if you separate Alien. It's a cool story about like how our existence was formulated and how we try to search for our God and what we find. So that is kind of cool. Prometheus is kind of a cool movie. There's a lot I didn't like about it, but it is a very well-made film. So you can check this out on Hulu. If you want to rewatch Alien, you can check that out somewhere. I don't know where. Probably Hulu as well. Better Call Saul. I know this is a series, but you can't help but shout out Mike Ehrmantraut and Saul Goodman in a excellent show. The only thing my biggest pet peeve of the show, even though Michael Keane, I think his name is, the guy who played Saul Goodman's brother, I was so ready for him to be gone. I was so done with him. And I think the character overstayed his welcome. Having said that, the actor fucking knocked it out of the park, and it was a well-made character, but it was like a character that you didn't really want to see anymore. The show got a lot better after he left, but the show was still awesome. You can check this out on Netflix along with Breaking Bad. That's not Red Dragon. Fiege. Oh, do I not have Red Dragon on here? I don't. Well, let me talk about Red Dragon for a second. Red Dragon, the prequel to Silence of the Lambs, which I read Red Dragon, by the way. I read Red Dragon. I read Red Dragon. Okay book. But if you love Hannibal, it's a dope book. But the movie, directed by Brett Ratner, who did the Rush Hours and a couple other movies I'm forgetting. But I was very surprised that he was able to do a suspense/horror film. And it had Edward Norton, Anthony Hopkins back, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Ralph Fiennes, I can't pronounce his name. Excellent cast and a very well-made movie. I loved Red Dragon. I thought it was super, super dope. Ouija, Origin of Evil. I will think that if you haven't seen this movie, watch. I couldn't finish the first Ouija, even though Olivia Cook, one of my wives, who's from House of the Dragon, she plays Allison. She's awesome, but that movie sucked. I couldn't finish it. And I think this was my introduction to Mike Flanagan. This is one of Mike Flanagan's first films, actually. And it makes me really excited to see what he's going to do with the sequel or the new Exorcist. He can fix franchises. And Ouija, believe it or not, counts as a franchise. And Ouija, Origin of Evil is actually really dope. As far as I can tell, you don't need to watch the first one in order to understand the prequel. But if you want to watch either, they're both on Netflix. Watch this one, though. It's super dope. I'm going to rewatch these two for Halloween, for sure. I think it's going to be a fun October talk. X-Men First Class. Goes without saying, it was super dope. Days of Future Past, yeah, that could count too, but not really. That kind of counts more as a sequel when it comes to time travel. This is definitely more of a prequel. It really sucks that Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix sucked. I still haven't finished Dark Phoenix, but I am going through the entire X-Men universe, including the first animated series, the X-Men 97, and all of the films in preparation for Deadpool Wolverine, which is coming out later on this month. But you can check out First Class on Disney Plus right now. Rise and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, you can watch on Max right now. I don't need to talk about this anymore. I talked a lot about Planet of the Apes this year, so just know Dawn's the best, but Rise is still a close second. They're close first, whatever. First Omen, I talked about this early on this year. I love the original. I lied. I don't really love the original Omen as much as everyone else does. I think it's an extremely well-made film, but I compare it to Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, and some other iconic religious horror films that doesn't need a score in order to scare an audience. This fucking film, I didn't know if it was going to connect to the Omen until the very end, but it does connect heavily. Oh, fuck. Got hiccups. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going to throw up. The First Omen, excellent horror film. You don't need to see the actual First Omen in order to understand it, but you should watch the original because it's a fucking banger. But this film is excellent. It's fucking weird. It's very weird. And there is one scene where at first I was like, wow, this is really good. And then it was too much. And if you've seen the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you're going to see the movie, you're going to think of me when this happens. Oof. So she did a really good job because I did that for what? 10 exasperated breaths, and I'm already seeing stars and I'm getting dizzy. You can watch The First Omen on Hulu right now. It's so good, guys. It's so good. If you want a good new horror movie, check this out. It's super fun. Even if you don't like it, it's horror. You're going to love it. This isn't Twin Peaks. Okay, real quick. This picture isn't Twin Peaks, but Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I actually never saw the movie, but I did watch the show and the new show, and I still haven't seen the movie. What's wrong with me? I don't know, but I had to mention that one. The Thing. Now, I did not like the new Thing, which is a prequel that stars Joel Edgerton and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, but it was a perfect plot to the greatest horror movie of all time. The CGI they used, it sucked comparing to the puppetry that is so fucking dope in the original The Thing. And apparently they were doing that, and the studio decided, no, we want to do CGI kind of last minute, and that kind of ruined the movie. But the movie is still definitely watchable. The third act was a little crazy. But it is, I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and I love The Thing. And this was a serviceable prequel. Bates Motel. If you haven't watched this, technically, it's not a prequel. I can't tell you anything further, but go into this thinking that this is a prequel to the film Psycho. Watch Psycho first before this. It's one of the greatest fucking movies of all time. Deal with it. It's fucking awesome. Bates Motel, one of the best television series of all time. It's really creepy and very uncomfortable, but it's excellent, guys. It's comparable to Hannibal, how much I love Hannibal. This movie, it has an ending. Hannibal didn't. I mean, it did. I think Hannibal ended well enough. This is great, though. Bates Motel is super, super great. Check it out. Check it out. You can watch it on Prime right now, and you can watch Psycho on Prime as well. Smallville. You remember Smallville? It's about how Clark Kent became Superman. I didn't watch all of it, but pretty dope show for a UPN 50 show. Ratchet, another show I didn't watch. But guess what? I'm a fucking idiot. And I didn't know that this was based. I literally just found this out this week. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. One of my favorite films of all time. It's a great film. Jack Nicholson, haven't watched it. You should watch it right now. You can rent it right now. Apparently, this is about Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I didn't know that. Don't ask me how I didn't know that. I didn't. So now I'm definitely watching it. It's always been on my list. Don't know why I didn't watch it. I'm not a big Ryan Murphy fan, but I do like some of his shit, and I love Sarah Paulson, so I'll definitely be checking this out. Even Jordan Colbertus says it's so good, so I'll absolutely be checking it out. Oh, and I don't know if it ends on a cliffhanger or not, but I did look up if it was going to have a second season, and Sarah Paulson said it's not, so hopefully I didn't ruffle any feathers. House of the Dragon, which is currently on, which we talk about it at length. I talked about this with a coworker at work earlier today, too, and it's fucking, I don't know who anyone is. And it's crazy because it's definitely a significant amount less characters than Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones is color-coded. And it's in different areas of the world. So it's easier to be like, okay, that person's in King's Landing, so they must be a Lannister. That, you know what I'm saying? So that made it a little easier. The show is excellent at storytelling, and I'm sure it's extremely close to the book. It's just, it's way more boring, but it's an extremely well-made show, and I love it every time I watch it. I have just fallen asleep more, and I walk out of the room without pausing more. Spartacus. If you haven't watched Spartacus, watch Spartacus. Blood and Sand, Gods of the Arena, and what's the third? Vengeance is the third one, and the fourth one is War of the Gods, I think it's called. One of the best television series ever made. If you like, 1 second, sorry. God damn it, I'm losing myself. According to Petey Pablo, ditto. Still love the show, but characters are hard to keep up with. And I'm assuming you're talking about House of the Dragon. Yeah, it's really hard to keep up with. I've given up on trying really hard, like I did with Game of Thrones. I would study Game of Thrones, but I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just sitting back and enjoying the ride. And it's still a fun ride. It's just, it's a little more boring. But back to, God damn it. I'm having such a hard time with this, guys. Sorry. All right, Spartacus. If you haven't watched Spartacus before, if you're a dude or a girl, dudes, you're going to see a lot of boobs. Gals, you're going to see a lot of dicks and shirtless dudes. Super fucking badass show. If you love 300, this is the show for you. The first season, Blood and Sand, is probably the best. Gods of the Arena, for me, is a close second. The whole reason that Gods of the Arena was made was because Andy Whitfield, who was Spartacus in the original show, got cancer, and he was working on treatment to get rid of that cancer. Bye-bye, cancer. And so they're like, well, we need to keep going with the show because first season was super, super popular. Well, we want Andy Whitfield back. We don't want to recast him. Let's do a prequel series about the House of Batiatus. And it's so fucking good. It's so good. And then Andy Whitfield, during this show, while it was out, he started training for the show again because his cancer went into remission. And then, just like Bernie Mac, when I heard that his pneumonia was fine and he's gonna be fine, his cancer came back and he passed away, and they had to recast Spartacus character with, I can't remember the guy's name. Everyone hated him, but calm down, dude. Yeah, they're not gonna get the same guy. I thought he was okay. But they replaced him, and they still made a great show. Vengeance is my least favorite season. War of the Damned, I think, is what the last season's called, is a great final season. But Gods of the Arena, one of the best prequels ever. Super, super dope. You can check this out. Probably Stars. It says you have to rent it, or unless you have Sling, you can do that. I would just, it might be on Stars as well, but make sure you watch Blood and Sand first. I know for some reason people are like, well, why would I watch the first movie if this movie takes place before the first? Because you'll see references, motherfucker. Watch it in chronological order of how they came out. Release date order? You know what I'm saying. Next. Oh, the final one on this list is Paranormal Activity, specifically 3. I know I put 2 in there. I don't remember 2. I remember 1. I remember 1 very well, and I thought this movie's okay. I think it was very good, especially with the budget it did and all that. Like, it was a modern day Blair Witch Project, made for next to nothing, and made a gajillion dollars, and made a franchise as well. And I thought 2 is going to suck. 2 is going to suck. And I don't know if I saw it on a date or what. I don't even know if 2 is a prequel. I can't remember 2 at all. But I ended up liking 2 a lot. I remember liking 2 a lot. But 3, I remember considering 3 to be maybe my favorite film. And I don't remember it that well. I remember it's about the little girls, though. I think the budget was like $5,000 for the first. Let's find out right now. $15,000. And if you don't know movies, then you should know that that's nothing. That's really nothing. Jordan Colbertus, Insidious prequels. I was considering, no, I wasn't considering putting the Insidious prequels. I'm not that big of a fan. Honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of the Insidious films. Maybe the first one I really dug a lot, but I definitely, the Last Key, whatever the last one was with Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne coming back, I loved that movie. I thought it was very, very well made, and Patrick Wilson actually directed that film. I thought that was very well done, but I vaguely remember the prequel films. The second prequel film I did not like. The first one I did like. So even though they're not on this list, I will say if you're a fan of horror, you should check those movies out. They're fun. But I'm not the biggest fan of Insidious, to be honest. I do love James Wan, though. Okay, so we talked about Paranormal Activity. All right, so now let's go to our Poppin' questions. Hailing from Myrtle Beach, Jennifer asks, where are some places you want to visit in real life and in the movie? Well, in real life, I found myself loving the beach. I think I spoke with Jennifer about this, that one of the best days of my life was recently where I spent the day at Stony Creek by myself at the beach. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Now, I hear that people that love the beach but don't live near it and then move to the beach actually end up saying, wow, the beach ain't all that. So there is that, but I would like to live somewhere tropical, ideally, or fucking Rome. Rome would be dope. I want to fucking have a cappuccino, say what up to a cat, read a newspaper. You know, I can't do that in America. I don't know, Rome, or Spain, maybe. I need to travel more in order to have a better answer for you. But, or Hawaii if I'm going tropical, or the Bahamas if I'm going tropical. 1 second. Jordan Colberti says Switzerland. Yeah, you're right. I can't make a decision, so Switzerland it is. I never even looked into Switzerland, but I'll keep that in mind. But I thought that the follow-up question from Jennifer is even better than the first. And that is, what are some places you would want to visit in a movie or live in at a movie? And I think that I'm sure I was asked this earlier today, so I couldn't really like look through a bunch of choices. But I had a few that came in mind, and then I Googled them. And I was like, wait, my choices were way better than what the internet says. First one, Sin City. Let me explain. If I still drank and did drugs, not to say, anyways, if I still drank, definitely Sin City. If I want to live a life of debauchery in black and white and color, Sin City. It's so fucking cool. Everything's cool in Sin City. And it's kind of like the Wild West. I think that that's kind of a cool thing about it, is that it's this weird world of like film noir type shit. Solving, I don't know. If you haven't seen Sin City, go watch Sin City. It's fucking dope. But speaking of Wild West, I don't think my complexion would help with these times, but I do like the idea of living like a cowboy. And I'm using Once Upon a Time in the West as an example because Once Upon a Time in the West is probably my favorite Western. So don't think like I'm saying just Once Upon a Time in the West. Really, I want to live in cowboy times. I want to walk around hearing my spurs. And if someone talks too much shit, I want to shoot them, go away from town, and just never have repercussions. And also, you know, having beers cost a nickel. I think that'd be cool. I'm basing all of these on drinking, apparently. But no, not only that, but I like the idea of the Wild West, that you can basically do whatever you want. Not that I would be like evil, but also like building whatever you can and discovering that hasn't been discovered yet. I don't know. Something about cowboy times is kind of cool. Champion City. Is that RoboCop? Because if it is, fuck no. I don't want to be around RoboCops. That's scary. I don't like robots. I don't like AI. Another one that's like half and half is Ready Player One. I want the technology of Ready Player One, which we as a society is very, very close to. Probably like 20 years, maybe less, maybe 10. But the poor real life living fucking sucks. I don't want that part. Oh, Champion City and Mystery Men. No, no, I don't want to live there. I don't want to live there at all. I love that movie, but I don't want to live in Champion City. So this is a list of films. Instead of just one, I'll take any Adam Sandler movie, because any Adam Sandler movie is in some fucking awesome place. Like here, look at him. I want to be a friend of Adam Sandler in real life and get paid to go to Hawaii to shoot 50 First Dates or Grown Ups 2. I think Grown Ups 2 took place there. Or any of these movies. Fucking go to Africa for Blended. Like every time he does a movie for Happy Madison, it's like, well, where do you want to visit? We'll make a story around that. Murder Mystery. Fucking, yeah, you get the point. It's really just a vacation where they barely shoot the film, and the film still ends up pretty good. So, yeah, any Adam Sandler movie. And finally, and this one I think was a good choice, Star Trek. Star Trek has not only really cool technology, it takes place in the future. Earth is still doing pretty well, so well, in fact, that we're traveling to other worlds. That's fucking dope. I would love to be an explorer. I think if I had to choose something in history that I'd love to do, and I guess I could do that today, I'm going to explore things. It would fucking be traveling to different planets, yo. That'd be fucking amazing. And your job is really just to observe and report. That's so fucking cool. Granted, some planets are more dangerous than others, extremely so. I like that. I think that that's really cool. And it would be scary, but I think it would be dope. I think it'd be really, really dope. So that's it for the Poppin' questions. Now we're going to move on to the news for our last 10 minutes. We're going to remember some Bill Cobbs. He passed away this past week. You may remember him from such films as Demolition Man, People Under the Stairs, Night at the Museum, Enough, and Sopranos. But also we're remembering Martin Mull, who you may remember from Arrested Development, Veep, Mr. Mom, or Clue. I think he played Colonel Mustard. Next in news, Dune 3 may have their release date out right now. There is speculation that the untitled event film that is being billed as Denis Villeneuve event film that's dated for December 2026 is going to be Dune Messiah, which is what Denis calls his last Dune film. If you watch the end of Dune 2, you'll know, it ends with the cliffhanger. We need one more movie. We think it's this, but it might not be. It might not be. A little off topic, but Petey Pablo says The Peripheral is an underrated show. I saw a trailer for it. If it got a second season, I'll give it a shot. Otherwise, it was one of those shows that looked kind of interesting, but I was like, I'm not sure. Observe to Report is Alien in a nutshell. Fuck off, dude. I don't want to live in Alien world. I want to live in Star Trek world. Back to Denis. So we might be, this might not be it. He said he wanted to work on something first. Also, to have these characters grow up a little bit, especially Timmy Boy. Timmy Boy's small. We need him to beef up a little bit. I feel like it's going to take him 10 years. If not, whatever. We're all going to watch Dune Messiah, and it's going to be like the best movie ever made. Godzilla and Kong is streaming on July 4th on Max, so get your fireworks ready because you're going to see some explosions. And also, the studio and producer of the legendary Godzilla saga has set the next Godzilla Kong film. It might not be Godzilla Kong, but that universe, the next film is dated for March 26th, 2027. Speaking of things that are on their way, here's a few films that are on the way. Street Fighter, they're trying again. I don't know if you remember, but apparently there was a Jean-Claude Van Damme film, which you can rent right now, that was made in 1994. But they're making a new Street Fighter film. I'm not that big a fan of Street Fighter, but if you are, the new movie's coming out March 20th, 2026. No word on any director or anything like that. Sequel-wise, Nobody 2 is 100% happening with Bob Odenkirk, and it's coming out August 15th, 2025. You can watch the first one on Prime right now. Downton Abbey 3 is opening doors in fall 2025. You can watch Downton 2 on Stars. If you're a Kathryn Bigelow fan, you can check out her next Netflix film, which is going to co-star Greta Lee. Joining her is Idris Elba, Rebecca Ferguson, Jared Harris. But we don't know what the movie's about. Kathryn Bigelow is a really good director. She did Zero Dark 30 and... Did she do Dark? What's that vampire movie called? It was pretty. Oh, shit. Oh, I thought I closed out the window. Are you guys still there? Oh, you are still there. Oh, man. I'm going to have to watch that back. That scared the shit out of me. All right. Anyways, what were we looking up? Oh, Kathryn Bigelow. Near Dark. Point Break. Point Break's fun. Hurt Locker is okay. Detroit's actually really good. Anyway, she's coming out with a new Netflix film. The original Street Fighter was classic. It was done well, but could have used more info. Early 90s. I'll keep that in mind. I like watching early 90s, late 80s action films, so I'll probably like it. Jean-Claude Van Damme, I haven't really that genre of film I haven't dipped my toes into yet. Eddie Murphy recently stated that they're working on the new Shrek film. Not surprised. If one animated sequel makes $1 gajillion, don't stop. Keep going. If you like money, if you like art, stop doing it. But they're doing another Shrek movie, and he says they're doing a standalone donkey film. So tell your kids that's happening, apparently. Apparently, they're working on another Friday. I know it's been years, but yeah, that's happening. Well, maybe not. They're talking about it again. They're developing it again. So that's kind of cool. Kevin Feige seems to be hinting that the new Fantastic Four film is a period film that was another piece of art where Johnny Storm flying in the air making a 4 symbol. So this is a poster that you're seeing. And in it, you're going to notice that the cityscape doesn't look exactly like the New York that we know or the New York that existed in the 60s in our world. And Kevin Feige said, those are some smart observations, I'll say, ... So methinks that Fantastic Four, and that's the only way it would make sense, is that the Fantastic Family is actually in a multiverse. That would make sense. And maybe they're going to be put into our world. Who knows? Whoops. That's the other poster. Klementieff, aka Mantis, is going to be in the DCEU. We just don't know who. She recently said that she's been speaking with James Gunn about taking over a character in the DCU. All for it. I love her. Mantis, I love, but I need more of Palm. Her in the new Mission Impossible film, dope, but we need more Palm. And revisiting 23. Remember 21 and 22 Jump Street? I don't know if you guys knew, but there was almost a 20, not really almost, but they really, really, really wanted to do a crossover film between 23 Jump Street and Men in Black. And apparently Channing Tatum recently said that that was the best script he had ever written or read. So I think that's really, really cool. PD Pablo, there definitely isn't, but we'll probably get a regular cowboy, a different Cowboy Bebop. Someone else is going to try it. And no offense to John Cho, but they'll do it better. John Cho did great and the show did okay, but it didn't quite hit like the original series, which you can't really touch. It's kind of unfair to say. Anyways, this isn't happening, but it almost did happen. I thought that was pretty funny. On TV-wise, but also movie-wise, did you know back in 2008-ish, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg told Sony about The Boys comic book, and then they kind of walked away. Adam McKay, who did Other Guys, Anchormans, Step Brothers, all those dope Will Ferrell movies, including Veep. What's that money one? Fuck, what's that money? The Big Short and Veep, not Veep. Veep? Vice. Veep? Fuck, what the fuck's that movie called? God damn it. The Dick Cheney one. I don't think it was called Veep. Vice. Thank you. Vice. He almost did a trilogy of movies about the boys, and that would have been dope. That's it. And apparently no one could get funding. Butcher would have been played by Russell Crowe, and Huey would have maybe been played by Simon Pegg, which the comic book character was modeled after. But of course, we have Simon Pegg playing Huey's dad in the television show. Dexter Original Sin, the prequel series, prequel series that's coming out pretty soon. They've been rounding out a pretty interesting cast, but also Sarah Michelle Gellar is going to be playing the boss at Miami Metro Police Department. Young Dexter begins a forensic internship at the Miami Metro Police Department in the series. That's why we have these younger versions of Angel, and now we have Sarah Michelle Gellar. I think it's an interesting get. She hasn't been in something pretty dope in a very long time, but still. Next, someone just commented, cheap viewers on a random site. I'm not buying viewers, Radish 911. Next. Harry Potter. If you love Succession and you love Harry Potter, well, look no further than the Harry Potter television series that's doomed to happen. Not really doomed. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it might be good. But I have a lot more faith in them because they're bringing on the creative team from Succession. Not exactly the showrunners, mind you, but Mark Malloy, who directed a bunch of episodes, and Francesca Gardiner, who either wrote or was a producer for Succession. They're going to be working on Harry Potter. So I'm interested to see if there's going to be some Harry Potter. If there's going to be some Harry Potter Brian Cox spoofs on SNL or something. Or you know what? Fuck it. I'll make it. It might be good. There's that. Okay. What the fuck, Tony? Am I here yet? Okay. There's a new show called Lanterns that's coming out soon. Not really soon, but part of the DCU that James Gunn's making. And this, along with Welcome to Derry, which is a prequel of it, and the Harry Potter television series, instead of heading to Max, they're going to be available on HBO. That's not bad for us, the streamers. I'm assuming none of you have HBO anymore. You probably have Max and not actually HBO. For us, we have to wait until the air time in order to be access that episode. However, it'll be available first at that time for HBO. Next, the Baby Reindeer creator and star Richard Gadd, yes, has a new series called Lions that's going to be produced by HBO. The new series asks, what does it mean to be a man? When Niles' estranged brother Reuben shows up at his wedding, it leads to an explosion of violence that catapults us back through their lives. Spanning almost 40 years from the 80s to the present day, the series will cover the highs and lows of the brothers' relationship, from them meeting as teenagers to their falling outs as adults. With all the good, bad, terrible, funny, angry, and challenging moments along the way, it will capture the wild energy of a changing city and a changing world. That was too long of a synopsis to read to you. Just know that the Baby Reindeer guy has another show coming up. Terminator Zero, that animated series that has Timothy Olyphant playing the main cast member, which we don't know anything about this series except that it's going to be set in the Terminator universe, but I don't think like Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be back in it or anything. And it's animated. So, however, they're rounding out a pretty cool cast. Rosario Dawson, sold. Ann Dowd, who's an excellent actress from Leftovers. And I think she was in Handmaid's Tale as well. Andre Holland, another excellent actor from The Nick. And Sonia Mizuno, can't pronounce your name, but you're in House of Dragon right now, and you're also Alex Garland's wife. They're joining the series as well, so I think that's going to be pretty dope. Next, Jeffrey Wright joins Michael Fassbender in Paramount Plus's remake of The Bureau, and this is called, what is this going to be called? The Agency, I believe. This is apparently the only reason I'm mentioning this, even though I like these two actors. I don't usually like talking about a random television show. The original series that this is based off of is like one of the best shows ever made. So look for The Bureau. I'm not sure where we can watch it, but I never heard of it. I think it's French, so that might be cool. Yeah, it's French. That dude's definitely French. Just look at him. Look at that guy in the middle. That looks like a Frenchman. Interview with the Vampire got greenlit for a season 3. I don't watch the show, but if you watch it, there you go. One Piece has new cast members. I don't watch One Piece, but I know I have some anime fans that are fans of this show as well. So I'm just going to read who these random people are because I don't know who they are. David Dastmalchian, the dude from, I do know that actor. It's Polka Dot Man from the Suicide Squad. And what's that movie called? Jordan, I think you're watching. You fucking loved that movie where the talk show host is in Late Night with the Devil. The guy from Late Night with the Devil is going to play Oppenheimer. Or, I'm sorry. He's going to play Mr. 3. He was in Oppenheimer. Jazara Jaslin is playing Warrior. Miss Valentine. Camrus Johnson is playing Mr. 5. And Daniel Lasker is playing Mr. 9. So, if you know who those characters are, you know who the actors are playing them. And finally in news, remember She-Hulk? Tatiana Maslany, probably pronouncing your name wrong, has recently said that her greatest moment in life was twerking with Megan Thee Stallion. And that makes me love Tatiana more. Because really, fuck the haters. Don't get me wrong. When this scene happened, I was like, yeah, this show needs to I don't know what's going on right now. That is when I saw everyone's doubts in the show. I thought the show was very well made. Not the funniest, don't get me wrong. But I thought it was very well made, and I was like, people need to relax a little bit. But when this scene happened, I was like, That was something to do. Interesting. Anyways, she said this is her greatest moment in life. Also, she reported about a season 2, which a lot of you are probably going to be happy about. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. I think we blew our budget. And Disney was like, no thanks. Next, sadly, the Big Door Prize season 2 was the last. It has been canceled. I'm sad, but I told you guys I kind of quit because I wasn't really into it. So I kind of saw this coming. And Will Forte joins Steve Martin and Tina Fey's new show, The Four Seasons. Now, our trailer, fucking A, we're over an hour again. God damn it. Well, I'll try to get through this quick. I'm sorry, guys. Although a lot of people are still watching, so I must be doing an okay job. Trailer poppin'. If you haven't watched the new trailers of these, you should watch them right now. Nosferatu. This movie looks fucking awesome. If you haven't seen the original, you don't have to, but you can watch it somewhere. Where can you watch it? You can watch it on Tubi right now. But the director, Robert Eggers, he does a lot of weird movies. The Witch is awesome with Anya Taylor-Joy, which you can watch on Max right now. He also did most famously The Lighthouse, which a lot of people loved. I thought it was okay. It was a little weird, but like not great weird for me. You can watch that on Max right now. He also did The Northman. I do not recommend that movie. I did not like it, but that's on Stars. He's doing the remake of Nosferatu, which stars Lily Rose Depp, Willem Dafoe, and a few other people. Watch the trailer. I watched it and I loved it. Willem Dafoe he's on his game, man. He's on his game. The Red One. So I watched the trailer for this. And after Santa Claus, codenamed Red One, is kidnapped, the North Pole's head of security, Dwayne Johnson, must team up with the world's most infamous bounty hunter, Chris Evans, in a globe-trotting, action-packed mission to save Christmas. It doesn't look very funny to me, but I like the imagination that this trailer had showed. We have a ripped J.K. Simmons playing Santa Claus, and we have snowmen carrying giant fucking mallets that are dangerous. I like the imagination that this film is going to bring. I kind of don't like The Rock. If I met him on the street, and I'll tell you right now, I think The Rock's super cool. I think Dwayne Johnson's super, super cool. Don't squeeze me, Dwayne, please. It's just some of his movies, I don't know. I can tell like it feels like he's making a lot of his shit for himself in a way. But in any case, this movie does look very entertaining. Definitely something for you to bring your kids to. I just don't think it looks that funny. However, Jake Kasdan directed this, and he did the new Jumanji movies, which were really, really good. But my favorite Jake Kasdan movie is Bad Teacher with Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel and Justin Timberlake. Rent it. It's hilarious if you haven't seen it. And finally, the trailer for Heretic. I shut off the trailer, but I liked the plot. These two girls that are trying to sell Jesus goes to the wrong house, it looks like. I shut it off halfway, but Hugh Grant's like, oh yeah, why don't you come in? She goes, sorry, we can't come in unless there's another woman in the house. And he's like, oh, my wife's baking cookies or muffins. And they're like, oh, okay. And you can tell from the poster alone, this guy is probably going to trap these girls. So that looks interesting and a pretty cool role for Hugh Grant. All right, let's go on to what is popping on TV right now that I'm watching. House of the Dragon, still dope. I loved the scene between Alicent and Rhaenyra. Great scene. I fell asleep sometimes at the episode, but it was a very good episode. They're just so long. They're so long, but we've talked about it at length. Presumed Innocent. I fucking hate Jake Gyllenhaal's character. He's the worst. I hope he's found guilty. But the show is very well made. You can check it out on Apple TV Plus on Wednesdays. The movie is on something with Harrison Ford. It was made back in the day. You don't need to watch it. The Boys. What happened on The Boys? I can't even remember. Oh. It got sad. Oh, I hated what they did with Homelander's son. Homelander's son has been pretty innocent. The least innocent thing that we saw him do was smirk at the season finale when people were clapping for him and his dad. In this, he belittles someone, and he looks like he's having too much fun. I didn't buy that this character is already evil. Like, I didn't buy that. But the episode is good all together. I do enjoy this season much more now. And I'm excited to see what else happens. I just still think that last season was my favorite. Acolyte. Still haven't resumed. I might have quitting it. I might have quitting it. Maybe not though. Barbie says that Bad Teacher might be on Netflix. I don't believe so, but double check everybody double check to see if it's on Netflix, because it is so fucking funny. It's one of the best comedies ever made. I said it. Very underrated. Dark Matter ended. Watch the show, everyone. I thought the finale was a little much, and I don't want to tell you why because I don't want to give anything away. I will say, look at the poster. They really lean into that. But the show is overall extremely well made. They opened the door for a season 2, but they don't need a season 2 at all. I kind of hope they don't do a season 2. But it is super, super well made. One of the best shows of the year. I'm going to say the best multiverse television show ever, and there's not many. So it's not saying too much, but it is so well made, guys. So check it out on Apple TV Plus. Honorable mentions of things that came out that I had not seen that you may want to see. Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1. This is Kevin Costner's new Western. I think it bombed at the box office. And there's a second one coming out in August, and I don't think anyone wants to see it. I didn't get a chance to watch this, but it looks like a fun rom-com called A Family Affair. A Family Affair with Joey King, Zac Efron, and Nicole Kidman. You can watch on Netflix right now. My Lady Jane looks like a pretty dope show on Prime Video. You could probably watch the whole season on Prime Video. Land of Women. I don't think this looks good, but if you want to watch this with like your grandma, I think that'd be dope. And what's coming out this week? So, Makin in theaters Friday, because July 4th is Thursday. No new movies are coming out Thursday. Friday, Makin's coming out. This is the third film in the X trilogy. X used to be on Netflix yesterday. It is now only available to rent. You can watch Pearl on Prime right now, and you can see Makin in theaters Thursday or Friday. I'm sorry. I think it will be popping. All I know is Kevin Bacon's in it, which wasn't like, this is why I need to see it. I have a good feeling about this. This film is a direct sequel to X, and Pearl was a prequel to X. Watch those movies. They're fun horror movies. Pearl's really weird, but it's good. I think Makin will be my favorite, but I think Pearl is still going to be everyone else's favorite. Despicable Me 4. Take your kids to Despicable Me 4. If you're looking to tell them to if you want them to shut the fuck up and watch something, Despicable Me 4. I don't think I'll like it. I'm an adult. I don't know why I'm saying it like I don't watch any other animated shit. Why did I give up on Despicable Me? Because it's much easier to tell that it's a cash grab. Remember what made the first one so enticing? It's because they played a Pharrell score to a pretty interesting storyline about a supervillain protagonist and Minions. But now it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't look good anymore. But I'm not going to review kids' movies too much. This is obviously not made for us, unless you're a kid watching this. In that case, go to bed. Beverly Hills Cop XLF. I'm excited for this. I saw some of the teaser trailer when it first came out around Super Bowl, I believe, and I thought it looked super dope. I'm really excited. 5th installment. It's probably not a great idea, but fuck it, man. I love Eddie Murphy. Just don't do Coming to America again. You know what I'm talking about. I've complained about it several times on PopCorn Poppin. Don't come out with a sequel where we're all excited to go see Eddie Murphy, and then we get Eddie Murphy's son the whole time. No shade on Jermaine Fowler. I love you, Jermaine Fowler, but I didn't watch Coming to America for you. I watched it for Eddie Murphy, who was hardly in the movie. Axel Foley. It better be Axel Foley. It better not be Axel Foley's daughter the whole time. Anyways, this is coming out on Netflix Wednesday. I'm rewatching the Beverly Hills Copses right now. You can watch 1 and 2 on Netflix, and I think 3 and 4 are on Paramount Plus, but 1 and 2 are really the best, in my opinion. The Imaginary. I know nothing about this movie, but it's on Netflix Friday, and I usually like giving a suggestion for parents to have their kids shut the fuck up and sit in front of the screen for free. If you have Netflix, you can do just that with The Imaginary on Friday. I think the animation looks dope. I just don't know what it's about. June 0. This is pretty heavy. I'm not even going to talk about it. It's in theaters Thursday, but it's a captivating film examining Adolf Eichmann's trial, capturing the empathy and humanism amidst the atrocities committed during World War II. Check out the trailer. It does not look fun, but it looks extremely well made. Definitely Oscars will be happening. And this is directed by Jake Paltrow, brother of Gwyneth, but he did one of my favorite movies called The Good Night with Martin Freeman, Danny DeVito, Gwyneth Paltrow, and what's her name? It's not Paz Vega. She's from Vanilla Sky. What the fuck's her name? Can someone help me? Tom Cruise's ex. Something. Pam. I gotta look it up. Damn it. Penelope Cruz. I said Cruz. Oh, why couldn't Cruz remind me? Anyways, the director of this film did The Good Night, which is about controlling your dreams, and a guy starts to have an affair with someone that is appearing in his dreams. That's why he wants to learn how to control his dreams. But he finds out that this girl is an actual real life person, and he wants to meet her. I highly recommend checking out The Good Night, which you can watch on Prime right now. Check it out. It's really fucking good. Another movie is coming out in theaters called The Escape, or just Escape, and it follows the struggles of a North Korean sergeant who is chased by a ruthless major after he defects. So this is I think just a 2-hour chase scene of someone defecting from North Korea to South Korea. I think it's a really good idea for a movie. It's foreign, so sorry for you patriots out there, but it looks really good. All right. In summation, what are we going to talk about next week? We're going to talk about Makin, which is in theaters Thursday. We're going to talk about Beverly Hills Cop that's coming out on Netflix Wednesday. And that's it. Those are the new things I'm watching. There's not that much new stuff. The new topic for next week, I'm not sure. But comment some poppin' questions, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you guys want to talk about. I think our topic next week might be my favorite villains. But since Makin is coming out, I think I'm going to do a cross between anti-heroes. Like, I don't know if anti-hero, I'm thinking like Walter White. Like Makin, I don't think we're supposed to be rooting for in the movie Makin. But she's a bad guy, but we're also watching, so. Lindsay Lou says, Peter and I love you. Thank you, Lindsay Lou and Petey Pablo. You guys are awesome. I miss you guys. It's been years. It's pretty dope that I can make a television show that can bring the people together. Anyways, Matt, the only things worth watching in my eyes besides Wandla, The Boys, things that I've already watched, the new stuff coming out, Makin and Beverly Hills Cop. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Like I said, I think next week's topic is going to be anti-heroes and villains. And we'll see. Tell me what you like, what you don't like. And I love you. Is it over?